Shabbat Shalom, folks. I am Miss Pocha. I'm going to read today. I'm going to read the last Torah portion, the last Torah reading for the book of Exodus or Shemot, and beginning in verse 21. It says, chapter 38, verse 21. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moshe, for the service of the Levites by the hand of Yitamar, son to Aharon the priest. And Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah, made all that Yehovah commanded Moshe. And with him was Acholiab, son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a cunning workman, and an embroiderer in blue and in purple and in scarlet and fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for the work and all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels, as the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,715 shekels, as the shekel of the sanctuary, and that is the same as 1,775 shekels there. A bekah for every man, that is half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone that went to be numbered from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000 and 3,550 men. So that's equivalent to 603,550 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets of the veil, and 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekels he made hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their chepters or capitals, and filleted them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar. And the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Now we're on Parach 39. And of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service, to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aharon, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires, to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen, with cunning work or artistic designs. They made shoulder pieces for it, to couple it together. By the two edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of this ephod that was upon it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in oceans of, or settings of, gold, graven, as signets are graven, with the names of the children of Israel. Shavan. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. a breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was 4 square. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set in it 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardius, or ruby, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. In the second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. In the third row, a ligure, and a gate, and an amethyst. In the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in ouches, or settings of gold in their enclosings. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with his name, according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches, or settings of gold, and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they fastened in the 2 ouches, or settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod, underneath, toward the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle, or intricately woven band of the ephod. 21. And they did bind the breastplate by its rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, and it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of blue. And there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as a hole of an habergeon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not run. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates. A bell in the pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe to minister or serve in, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aharon and for his sons, and the mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and the girdle of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, of needlework, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like to the engravings of a signet, holiness to Jehovah. And they tied unto it a lace of blue, to fasten it high on the mitre, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished, and the children of Israel did according to all that Jehovah commanded Moshe, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moshe, the tent and all its furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, and his sockets. and the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of badger skins, and the veil of the covering. 35. The ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for the light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars and his saggets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle, or the tent of the congregation, the cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aharon, the priest, and his son's garments, to minister in the priest's office. According to all that Jehovah commanded Moshe, so the children of Israel made all the work. And Moshe did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as Jehovah had commanded, even so had they done it. And Moshe blessed them. Torah 40. And Jehovah spake unto Moshe, saying, On the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with a veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and light the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. Shabbat. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that is therein, and shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver in his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aharon and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aharon the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt bring his sons, and clothe them with coats. And thou shalt anoint them, as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office, for their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout the generations. Thus did Moshe according to all that Jehovah commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moshe reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his saggets, and set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above upon it, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. 21. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as Jehovah commanded Moshe. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before Jehovah, as Jehovah had commanded Moshe. And he put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before Yehovah, as Yehovah commanded Moshe. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And he burned sweet incense thereon, as Yehovah commanded Moshe. 28. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as Yehovah commanded Moshe. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water therein to wash withal. And Moshe and Aharon and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat, when they went into the tent of the congregation, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed, as Yehovah commanded Moshe. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moshe finished the work. Then the cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of Yehovah filled the tabernacle. 35. And Moshe was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of Yehovah filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yehovah was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. And now we come into the book of Leviticus. This is the end of Exodus or Shabbat. Now we are at Vayikra or Leviticus. I don't know what else to say, folks. I just read it for you right there. Shabbat Shalom.